A hedge on an edge, a hedge on a ledge. You can even have a hedge that is a wedge. And this week, I do solemnly pledge that through my experience, I shall dredge to depart my knowledge of the humble hedge. I'm feeling like green eggs and ham right now. Buxus is one of the most popular plants for hedging, and it's really easy to see why. You can keep it quite small, or you can let it get a little bit larger. The thing that makes it so great is its growth habit. Now, the leaves grow really closely together, so when you prune it to a shape, it becomes really dense, and you get a nice, solid-looking hedge. If you want something a bit bigger, you can't go past Morea, and here it's been used to extend the height up past this picket fence. It's incredibly fast-growing, it can be clipped tightly, and it also has the benefit of citrus-smelling flowers in spring that will spot flower throughout the rest of the year. Certain standalone feature plants can also be used for hedging, things like azaleas and camellias. Camellias can tolerate a really hard cutback, so if you do have a small tree, you can cut it back and you can start to achieve a shape like this. What you want to be careful of, though, is you don't want to cut off the flowers. Now, this flower's in winter, so the last time you want to give it a prune is in early autumn. And some hedges are going to be perfect for this garden. They'll screen the fences, they'll give some privacy, and they'll help cool the whole space down. This is the water howsia or weeping lily-pilly. Now, this can get to about 6 meters tall, so it's perfect for a tall or medium hedge. It can be kept at about 2.5 meters happily. You don't really want to make it any smaller than that. I've placed it in the middle of our garden bed, so it gets optimal root growth, and it kicks back in this section, so we've got a bit of space for some planting in front. When it comes to spacing, though, you want to space them about 1 meter. I've done these, though, at about 800. You don't want any smaller than that, and I've done that because I want an instant effect. You also want to make sure that you give enough room for the plants to grow out to the end of where you're hedging, especially if you've got a driveway or cars coming in. Although this hedge does give us good instant impact, it doesn't give us the privacy that it's going to give us eventually, and to get it to that point, you need to give it the right maintenance. Lots of water when it's establishing, but also lots of pruning. Don't let it get up to the height you want before you start pruning it, because then it will be really sparse. You want to be tip pruning it as much as you can. In the cooler months, that's maybe once a month. In the warmer months, every couple of weeks, and you'll get a lovely, dense hedge. The plants that I've combined with it are this. This is Loropetalum. It's got a lovely purple foliage. You can see how nice that looks against the lime green of the lily-pilly. And then just to cascade over the wall, some cousinets. You may also be wondering why I've left this big strelitzia in here. Well, the homeowners really like it, and I've used that to my advantage. That allows us to bring in new plants, and therefore none of it looks out of place. Well, that certainly does look much better, but give it 12 to 18 months, and you're going to have a nice, solid, dense hedge. On this side of the garden, though, I'm going for something a little bit different. It's a smaller garden bed, so I've gone for Ackmena smithii minor. This will turn into a big tree like the water howsia, but it can tolerate being kept much smaller, and that's because it's got a smaller leaf. I'm planting it in a 200 ml pot. It's cheaper, it's certainly easier to get in the ground, and it's going to establish much quicker. When you're selecting plants for a hedge, it's all about getting the right plant for the right spot. These Ackmenas are perfect for here. They can tolerate a limited root run, which they've got. They'll easily reach fence height. I don't want them to get any taller because they'll block light out of the garden. And to achieve that, I've spaced them at 600 millimeters. For a plant that gets this high, you don't really want to space them any closer. If you're using a smaller plant, like a Buxus, you could plant those as close as 200 mil together, and they'd be absolutely fine. The last thing you need to do is water your plants in well. And it is really tempting just to leave them to grow. But actually, the more you prune them, the more new growth they'll put on and the denser your hedge will be. And then the last thing you need is just some good old-fashioned patience.